for the first time in possibly forever, I think I have almost successfully completed one of my seasonal TBRs, and it is such a good feeling. I have technically only got one book left from my spring TBR, which is the Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, but I'm rolling that forward onto my summer TBR because I do want to get to that. If you want to get into technicalities, I do also have books 2 and 3 of this Lady Taylor series to read, but I did read book 1, and I feel like because it's a series I can take my time a little bit, so I will also try and pick these up in the summer. But yeah, to walk away with only one book left, I don't think I have ever done that, so feeling pretty good about myself right now. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if it is your first time here. My name is Jess. Today is going to be my summer TBR. I like to set myself seasonal TBRs rather than monthly TBRs because you'll probably have gathered from the first clip that I'm not great at following TBRs that I set for myself, although I think because I have been so busy recently not having to think about the next book that I'm going to pick up, but just picking from an already selected pile has worked really well for me, just having the brain space to be able to read and then offering me that escapism still. So fingers crossed that I will do as well with the summer. I have tried to be a little bit logical about my TBR this season and pick books from a couple of genres. The only genre that I haven't really included is non-fiction. I do want to pick up a couple of non-fiction options, so I'll have a think about it. I may leave in the description bar down below the non-fictions that I'm going to pick up, but I have ordered one that's arriving today which I think I'm going to lean towards, so I'm not trying to be mysterious or anything, I just actually haven't thought about it that much. But without further ado, let's jump in and start talking about my summer TBR. So first up we have Death in the East by Abir Mukherjee. This is the 4th book in the Wyndham and Banerjee series. These are historical detective fiction set in the 1920s in India, and we are following Captain Wyndham, who is your stereotypical detective with a past trying to serve the British Empire alongside local Sergeant Banerjee at quite a contentious period in the British Empire's history. So a very interesting time period to be reading about with an exotic setting as well. So I really like these books. I feel like they are the type of book which have just got better and better as we've gone through the series, so very interested to pick this one up. This particular book for the first time has a dual timeline, so we're following Captain Wyndham in 1905 when an old flame is attacked, and then we have the 1920s, more present day timeline for Captain Wyndham and Sergeant Banerjee anyway, when Captain Wyndham has basically gone into some form of rehab for his opium addiction, which is not a spoiler by the way. You learn right at the beginning of book 1 that Captain Wyndham has an opium addiction and it affects a lot of what happens in the rest of the other books, but he's finally trying to get his life together, and so we're following that story as well. As I say, these are books which have just got better and better. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen next. I thoroughly enjoy them. I would highly recommend. Then we have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is an enemies to lovers trope romance. I read a really fun enemies to lovers romance in May, which I'm very excited to talk about in my wrap up, but that has prompted me to want to find more books of that type, which is why I am putting this one on my TBR. So this is an office based enemies to lovers situation. We have Lucy, who is a professional and nice girl, and then tall, dark, brooding Josh, and there is hostility, and then I think there is romance. I imagine it's going to be very stereotypical, but hopefully it will do it well and it will hit all the right spots. We will see. Next we have 2 books which I only recently hauled, but I really like reading psychological thrillers in the summer, mostly because I am quite a scaredy cat. I like this type of book to a point. I don't like horror, I don't like being really badly scared, but I like this type of book but I'm better reading it when it's predominantly light outside, and summer is a great time for that. So first up we have The Heatwave by Kate Riordan. So this is a psychological thriller set in the French countryside. We have a mum, Sylvie, who hasn't been home to her family house in France since the death of her eldest daughter, Elodie, and then this particular summer she goes back, but the truth of what happened to Elodie begins to come to light, and so I think it's all quite tense and atmospheric, and we just discover what really has gone on. And then I'm also adding The Sanatorium by Sarah Pearse, which this one gives off kind of summery vibes. This one not so much, because it's set in a creepy hotel in the Swiss Alps. It's a hotel that has been converted from a sanatorium. We have a detective who goes to her estranged brother's engagement party. There is a storm, guests begin to go missing, the story begins to unfold. So yeah, adding these two to my list. As I say, a bit of a scaredy cat. Hopefully nothing too creepy will be in either of them, but I'm imagining this one might be creepier than this one. But yeah, we will see how I get on. I have just kicked my tripod, so if I have slightly changed positions, that is why. Next up we have some historical fiction. This is another new book which I haven't hauled yet, Still Life by Sarah Winman. This I think covers quite a period of time, but we begin in 1944 Italy. As bombs fall around them, two strangers meet in the ruined wine cellar of a Tuscan villa and share an extraordinary evening. We have Ulysses Temper, a young British soldier, and Evelyn Skinner, a 64-year-old art historian living life on her own terms. Big-hearted, sweeping, and full of unforgettable characters. That sounds like a book which would potentially be right up my street. I have previously read another Sarah Winman. I think it was When God Was a Rabbit, If God Was a Rabbit, When God Was a Rabbit, which I'm pretty sure I thought was just okay. I think there was an element of magical realism, or there was just something that was a little bit off for me about the telling of the story, but I'm hoping, because this is historical fiction and it starts in World War, which is always a solid choice for me, that I'm going to enjoy this one. So yeah, I know that this has had extremely high praise in the book community. I think it won an award, or it was nominated for an award, so looking forward to seeing what I think. Next up, I am adding One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It feels like absolutely ages since I read a TJR book, and she is one of my favourite authors. I made a promise to myself that I wanted to read her entire back catalogue, so I'm adding this one on and hopefully I can get it ticked off. So this is contemporary, I think it's romance, about high school sweethearts Jessie and Emma, who get married in their 20s and begin to build a life together. And then on their first anniversary, Jessie goes missing in a helicopter over the Pacific. Flash forward, Emma is now in her 30s. She has begun to heal. She has begun to think that she might want to open up her life again. She meets someone, she gets engaged, and then Jessie turns up, and it transpires that he has been alive the whole time and trying to get back to Emma, and so she finds herself in a love triangle. It says on the back, who is her one true love? What does it even mean to love truly? As I say, I'm a huge fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing, so I'm sure that I will enjoy this. It's just another nice cozy book, hopefully, to add to the list. At this point, I honestly feel like a broken record in that so many of these books are new books that I haven't even hauled, but I have recently purchased. I promise that I am reading books on my existing TBR. I'm reading those as part of my Smash the TBR series. I know that I'm a little bit behind even with getting the second episode of that series up. I promise I'm reading them. I am making an indent in them. I just don't want to show them in this particular video because it would spoil what those videos are about. But as many new books as I'm reading, I am also reading books that I already owned. I promise. Here is another new book, although this is one that has been on my radar for quite a while. This is Sister Song by Lucy Holland, and this is a retelling, a reimagining of a mythical British ballad. So it's about 3 sisters. It says they'll be bound by betrayal, magic and murder. So King Kador has 3 daughters and they are living in a war-torn country. It has been abandoned by the Romans. I think the Saxons are invading, and then we have mysterious murderer and magician Merdin who arrives, which I think is a play on Merlin. So yeah, this is a mythological retelling. I honestly have such high hopes for this book. It sounds like it's going to be right up my street, with this whole kind of mythological retelling mixed with a King Arthur type setting, and I honestly think that I'm going to be so here for it. I really hope that it lives up to my expectations. As I say, it's a book that's been on my radar for a while. I wanted to wait until I could get it in paperback. I'm very excited to read it. I'm caught now in that situation where I don't want to hype it up too much, but at the same time I feel like it could be such an excellent book and I really have high hopes for it, so we will see. And then the final book I'm going to show you, I'm actually not going to talk about, because again, the whole broken record thing, these are books that I've mentioned many times. This is The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. I'm adding this to my TBR because I'm committing to doing this reread finishing of the Realm of the Elderling series, and it's the type of book that will just drift off because of its size. This is the second book in the Live Ship Traders. I'm adding it on. It's adult high fantasy. I talk about these books all the time. I absolutely love Robin Hobb and her writing, and I want to finish these books. So I'm adding this to the list as motivation to do just that. So yeah, on it goes. So there you go, that is my summer TBR. Let me know if you are planning to read any of the same books. Let me know if you've read any of them, if you think I should prioritize any over the others. As I say, I know a lot of those books are new to me, but I am also working my way through my existing TBR. You will see all will become clear when I finally catch up with the editing of my vlogs. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you are all keeping safe and well. Take care, and I'll see you soon.